Ruth reaps. The story is found in the book of Ruth in chapter 2, verses 1 to 23. Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons lived in the town of Bethlehem. When the area was hit with a famine, they traveled to the nearby land of Moab to find food, and settled there. Sometime later, Elimelech died. The 2 sons grew up and married local women, Ruth and Orpah. After settling in Moab, the 2 sons died. That left all 3 as widows, Naomi and her 2 young daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah. When Naomi heard that the Lord had provided food for the people back in Bethlehem, she decided to return. After all 3 had packed their belongings, Naomi turned and told her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back to your parents' homes." Orpah kissed Naomi goodbye and returned home to her mother's house. Ruth, however, held tight to Naomi and would not let go. "Don't urge me to leave you," Ruth begged. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die." When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to stay with her, they set off together. They arrived in Bethlehem just as the barley harvest was beginning. Hearing that the poor were allowed to pick up grain that the harvesters had left on the ground, Ruth said to Naomi, "Let me go into the barley fields to pick up the leftover grain." "Go ahead, my daughter," Naomi replied. Ruth happened to go into the fields belonging to a man named Boaz, a relative of Naomi's dead husband. Boaz noticed Ruth collecting grain with the poor. "Who is that woman?" he asked the man in charge of the harvesting. "She is the Moabitess who returned with Naomi," he answered. "She asked for permission to pick up grain and has been working hard." Boaz went across to Ruth. "Stay in these fields with the women who work for me," he told her. Ruth bowed down before Boaz. "Why are you treating a foreigner so kindly?" she asked. "I've been told how you have cared for Naomi," Boaz answered. "May God richly reward you." At mealtime, Boaz invited her to eat with the other harvesters. Ruth then returned to gather grain until evening and threshed the barley she had gathered before taking it home to Naomi. It was a large amount. She also brought Naomi the food left over from the meal she had. "Where did you gather grain today?" Naomi asked. "Who has been so kind to you?" "Boaz," Ruth replied. "The Lord bless him," said Naomi. "He is a close relative." Ruth reaps.
Ruth reaps. A thrust in the sickle, a thrust in the sickle, a thrust in the sickle, and Ruth reaps. A thrust in the sickle, a thrust in the sickle, a thrust in the sickle, and Ruth reaps. Ruth